Denver County Court Virtual Advisements. Traffic. Welcome. You are here today for an arraignment. The purpose of an arraignment is to advise you of your rights, to advise you of the charges against you, to advise you of any possible penalties such as jail time, fines, or points that may be assessed against your driving privilege, and to allow you to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. If you enter a not guilty plea, your case will be set for a trial or final hearing at a future date. If you ask for and are granted a continuance on your case today, then you will not enter a plea during today's proceedings. There are two types of traffic violations that a person can be charged with in the state of Colorado. They are called offenses and infractions. Offenses are more serious violations that are criminal in nature, and depending upon the type of offense, a maximum fine of up to $5,000 and the possibility of a jail sentence can be imposed. Examples of criminal traffic offenses include violations such as reckless driving, careless driving, and not having insurance. Infractions are less serious charges that are not criminal in nature. They include maximum fines of up to $999, and jail time can never be imposed. Examples of non-criminal infractions include violations such as failing to stop at a stop sign, failing to signal for a turn, most speeding violations, and having obstructed windows. For both criminal traffic offenses and non-criminal traffic infractions, in addition to any fines that may be imposed, court costs and other costs such as victim assistance fees or victim compensation fees may also be imposed. In addition, for many violations, whether criminal offenses or non-criminal infractions, penalty points may be assessed against your driving privilege by the Department of Motor Vehicles. When you appear in court today, the prosecutor, while not required to do so, may make what is known as a plea bargain offer on your case. A plea bargain offer is simply a compromise where the city may offer you a lesser charge with lesser penalties in exchange for you not taking your case to trial or final hearing. In some cases, in order to reduce the penalty, the prosecutor may ask you to enter a guilty plea to a violation that you were not originally charged with on your ticket. For instance, if you were charged with a 4-point speeding violation, the city may make you an offer for a 2-point violation with a smaller fine. Since there is not a 2-point speeding violation, the city would ask you to enter a guilty plea to a different charge, such as a 2-point defective vehicle. If you wish to accept the city's plea bargain offer, then this is both legal and acceptable, as you would be waiving the factual basis for the lesser violation. It is very important for you to remember that just because the city offers you a plea bargain, you are under no obligation to accept that offer. If you feel that you are not guilty of the violations charged against you, you have the absolute right to enter a not guilty plea and go forward with a trial or a final hearing. You have the following rights regarding your case. You have the right to know and understand the charges against you. You have the right to be considered innocent of the charges against you unless you enter a guilty plea or are found guilty at a trial or final hearing. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. For traffic offenses, you may qualify for a public defender to represent you at no cost if you meet the income guidelines. For traffic infractions, you would be responsible for the cost of hiring an attorney to represent you. You have the absolute right to enter a not guilty plea and have a trial or final hearing on your case. For traffic offenses, you may choose to have a trial to the court or a trial to a jury. Depending upon the type of charge, you have the right to have your trial set within 91 or 180 days. If you are requesting a jury trial, you will be required to sign a jury demand and may be required to pay a jury fee. In your jury demand, you will also request the number of jurors that you would like to hear your case. You are entitled to have 3, 4, 5, or 6 jurors, and the choice as to how many jurors is totally up to you. On traffic offenses, you also have the right to decline to be heard by a magistrate and request that a judge preside over your case. On a traffic infraction, you have the right to have a final hearing within 91 days, and for traffic infractions, you do not have the right to be heard by a jury, and you cannot decline to have your case heard by a magistrate. You have the right to remain silent, because any statements made by you may be used against you at your trial or final hearing. You have the right to have the prosecutor prove your guilt to each and every element of the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to cross-examine any witnesses called against you, to subpoena witnesses, to have the court issue subpoenas on your behalf, and to present evidence for your defense. And you have the right to testify or not at your trial or final hearing, and the choice to testify or not is entirely up to you. If you decide not to testify, it cannot be used against you. You have the right to ensure that any answer you make is voluntary and not the result of any undue influence or coercion on the part of anyone. You have the right to appeal any finding of guilt after your trial or final hearing to the Denver District Court. If your case is continued for a future date, it is your responsibility to keep your contact information for your address and telephone number current with the court. If you fail to appear at any future court dates, additional fines and costs may be imposed. Penalty points may automatically be assessed against your driving privilege with the Department of Motor Vehicles, and a warrant for your arrest may be issued by this court. When your case is called, the judge or magistrate will advise you of the specific charges on your case and whether or not the city is extending a plea bargain offer to you. If you do not understand any of the charges, the plea offer, any of your rights covered in this advisement, or anything else that is occurring on your case, please let the judge or magistrate know so that they can be certain that you are aware of your rights and what is transpiring in court. Thank you for your attention during this advisement.